All right, welcome to Social Media Platform How-To for Librarians. This one is on YouTube. So first, as with the other webinars in this series, we're going to go through basic features and target audience. First of all, requirements to use this social media platform. You'll need a computer connected to high-speed internet and a web browser. Any web browser will do, although Chrome is the one that's usually recommended. You'll need a camera and a microphone. This does not have to be connected to the computer, although it can be. It can be a webcam if you're just going to be recording picture of your face talking. Otherwise, you can use a smartphone that has video recording capabilities, or you can use a video camera that you can download files from afterwards. Optional is video editing software. I say this is optional. It's highly encouraged that you have video editing software. And lastly, you'll need an account administrator. You don't necessarily need a specific email account for YouTube, although that is also highly encouraged. So a short history of YouTube. It was started by actually PayPal employees in 2005 as a platform where short videos and video clips could be hosted and shared. The lore is that they wanted to share the video clip of Janet Jackson's Super Bowl halftime performance. I could not verify that, but Google was acquired by YouTube, Google acquired YouTube in 2006, about a year later. It was launched outside the US in 2007, so a year after that. It went through a pretty extensive redesign in 2010, and by 2012, it was estimated that about 60 hours worth of video was being uploaded per minute. That was back in 2012. It has not slowed down. Today, YouTube is the second most visited website on the internet, period. Some people call it the world's most popular search engine next to Google, so keep that in mind. Audience demographics for the platform. This one was, I think, one of the harder ones to pin down for me of the social media platforms in terms of coming to grips with the demographics because it is so widely used. It's estimated that YouTube has 30 million active users daily and 60 million a month. So that's a lot of people. And Google is pretty cagey about information about how they run YouTube, the cost that it takes to run the platform. But 81% of people aged 15 to 24 in the US use YouTube. That's a high percentage, and 80% of all YouTube users actually come from outside the US. So do keep that in mind. Of all of the social media platforms that we've talked about, YouTube is the one that is most used outside the US. 70% of YouTube watch time comes from mobile devices. And this is a trend we've been seeing in the last few years, the increased use of mobile devices. And YouTube is kind of a leader on that front. Just as a note, these statistics came from the Omnicore Digital Marketing Agency. I put the link there. They've got a lot more interesting facts and statistics about YouTube. So if you get a chance, check that out. So what are the basic things you can do on YouTube? You can watch a video, which is what most people do. You can like a video, comment on a video, subscribe to a channel. All of these things you can do as your average user. You will need an account to like, comment, or subscribe to a channel. You can create playlists of your own to go back to. And lastly, and the one that we'll focus on for libraries today, of course, is posting a video. There's other things you can do on YouTube. This is just the basic list. So we're going to go through setting up an account and the first steps to uploading a video. So when you go to youtube.com, if you are not already signed into Chrome with a Google account, it'll ask you to sign in. If you are signed into Chrome with a Google account, it will use that Google account. But for this example, I pretended like I did not have a Google account signed in. And when you click sign in, it'll ask you to sign in, and it looks like the Google sign in because they're owned by the same company. And you can sign in, or you can choose to create an account by clicking create an account, or if you're signing in, you can click next. I chose to create an account because I wanted to show you what it looks like to set up a YouTube account for a library, so to manage your business. There's a way to go back if you're already signed in to Google There's a way to add a business channel to your YouTube account that's automatically given to you if you sign up for a Google account. But I am starting as if I'm creating an account. So it'll ask for your name. We're using the fictional library, Bainville Library, again. And it'll ask you to create a new Gmail address instead, if you haven't. So we're creating a new Gmail address. Once you've created it, it'll spit you back to the YouTube homepage. And the only difference you'll see is in the upper left corner, you'll see instead of the silhouette icon, a letter icon that's based off the first letter of your first name. If you click on that, it'll bring up a pop-down menu here. And to create a channel for your library, you want to click on Create a Channel. So you can see there where we've clicked on it. Once you do that, this box will pop up. Your creator journey begins. It's Google. They're good at being user-friendly. So you click Get Started, and then you want to use a custom name in the next window because you're not trying to set up a personal account for yourself. So once you have selected not your name, it'll ask you to create a channel name. A quick note, you can't put spaces in the name, which is why there's no space there. And they ask you to check you understand that you're creating a new Google account with its own settings, YouTube search and watch history, and then you can click Create. All right, from there, assuming you've chosen a username that's not already being used, it'll say, nice work, your channel's been created. And it'll ask you to do a few things on this screen, which you can go back and do these things, do these tasks from your account page. But these are just the things that they want you to do right away. You don't have to, they're highly encouraging you to. Such as uploading a profile picture, telling viewers about your channel, and it just needs to be a short 1 or 2 sentence description. If you're doing it for a library, it can be like, this is the YouTube channel for, whatever public library in, you can list your town and state. It will also ask you to add links to your sites. And this can be nice if you already have other social media platforms set up. So in this case, it's showing Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This doesn't mean that YouTube will automatically post to these social media platforms for you, like Instagram will automatically post to Facebook for you if you choose that option. But what this does mean is that these social media links are displayed on your channel information. And so if viewers want to find you on other platforms, they have an easy link to use. All right, so once you are at your homepage, and in this case, I did not upload a profile picture. There's 2 buttons to look at up at the top first. The one that is circled is Customize Channel. So if you click on that, it'll take you a page that looks like this. This page is your channel art page. Here you can look at lists of videos that you've uploaded, lists of playlists that you've created. If you have more than one channel, you can also see if anybody has posted any comments or questions directly to your channel rather than on a specific video. And you can edit your About page there. I will say that a note about this page: if you want to change your profile picture or your channel art, you'll need to go to your actual Google account to upload those files. That can be a little bit confusing. And to save time for today, I'm not walking through those steps, but that is something that we will be happy to walk through with you if you're having difficulty doing. Pretty user-friendly. Google is pretty user-friendly. So what we're going to spend more time on is the YouTube Studio button. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the YouTube Studio, and this is the dashboard, the things that they think you're going to use the most. Over on the left, you'll see a vertical menu of other things that you can do from the YouTube Studio. But what we're really looking for today for this presentation is how to create a video. So up at the top, I've circled the Create button, which you can click and then it'll drop down. You can choose Upload a Video or Go Live. You can also look for the icons that are just below that create button, one that has the arrow pointing up and one that has the red dot with the signal lines around it. Upload for the arrow, signal, dot with signal for the go live. I'm not going to talk about going live in this presentation. It's similar to how you go live on Facebook or on Instagram. So I don't want to repeat myself too much, but just to let you know where that button is. So once you choose upload a video, it'll come up with this window and you can select files from your computer from here. There are 3 different screens to go through. Once you have selected the video to upload, it'll start uploading. And in the meantime, it's asking you these questions. So it'll ask for a title. This is required. And you are limited to 100 characters for the title. It asks you for a description. Description is not required, but it is encouraged, especially if you have anything to say about the video, or if you need to include any links that you mention in the video or further information for your video. If you continue scrolling down on this box, it'll ask you to upload a thumbnail. If you don't upload a thumbnail, it will choose a random still from about the middle of the video that you don't have any control over. So if the YouTube has pulled an awkward looking still from the middle of the video, or if you just want to avoid having that happen at all, you can upload a thumbnail, and this can be a JPEG file or just a picture file. It will also ask you if you want to add it to a playlist on your channel. If you've created a playlist, let's say you're doing a series of videos and you want to include that video on a certain playlist, this is where you can select a playlist. You can go back in and edit the video information later. You don't have to do that now. A note at the very last screen before you can click next, it will ask, is this video made for kids? This has to do with the COPPA, Child Online Privacy and Protection Act, because YouTube was hit with a suit towards the second half of 2019, and we'll talk more about that later in the presentation. This can be confusing though. It's asking if it's made for kids or if it's not made for kids. I want to note it's not asking if it's appropriate for kids or not. It's asking if the target audience is for kids or not. I'm assuming most of the things a library would upload are not necessarily for a child audience, unless maybe it's something that your youth services librarian has uploaded. There's also an age restriction option. I highly doubt any libraries would be uploading material that would only be appropriate for 18 and older, for example. Once you've made that selection, you can click next, and it will take you to the second screen in this 3-step process that we're talking about. So it will ask if you want to add an end screen. Adding an end screen means you can add links at the end of your video. It'll say, do you want to add cards? These will pop up in the video, and these are also links embedded in the video. I generally don't use these, but once you know about them, you'll be able to spot them on other YouTube videos. And the last screen that we'll get to when you're uploading a video is visibility. For this example, I uploaded a video that I had previously uploaded for the weed or repair webinar, because that's a video file I had handy, and it was not a very long video, so I know it would upload quickly. There are 3 options here, actually 4. You can save or publish. You can make your video private, so only you and the people you choose specifically give access to can see your video. Well, I should say anyone with the link can see the video. You can choose unlisted. Anyone with the video link can see your video. There we go. And then public. Usually you want to choose public. The only time maybe you would choose unlisted or private especially, is if you're uploading a video early and you don't want to schedule a date to make the video public, or maybe you don't have a date to make the video public, but you want the video uploaded, but you don't want anybody but you to have access, and maybe people that you specifically choose. So that was why you would choose private. Unlisted is if you want to upload the video, but you don't want it to be searchable by YouTube. it's still an active link, and anyone who has the link can view the video. You don't need to give them permission other than giving them the link. And then public. All right, and once you've chosen that, you can click save, and then it will give you, when the video is fully uploaded, it will give you this screen, video published. It will give you options to share, so you can get the embed code if you want to embed the video directly in your website. It'll also give you options to share the link through other social media platforms. And also a note, see resources and further reading at the end of the presentation for links to more tutorial videos from YouTube. I have barely glossed the surface of all of the things you can do on YouTube, and YouTube does an excellent job of providing video tutorials, so I would suggest you check out their videos as well. So I want to go back really quick and talk about how you can add other managers to your channel. This can be helpful if you have a library account that you want more than one person to have access to, but you don't necessarily want to share the Google account that's associated with the YouTube account. So for this, back on our YouTube Studio page, you look for the gear, or sometimes I think it looks like a flower icon on that left vertical menu bar, and it is towards the bottom. And once you click on that, you'll want to go to the permissions section of settings and click manage permissions. From there, it'll take you to your Google account, brand account details. And so you'll have to click manage permissions again. Once you do that, this is, I mean, it's a little bit hidden, so this is why we're going through this, so you know where it is. Once you click manage permissions, another screen will pop up. You want to look in the upper right for the little plus and the icon, the person icon, and click invite new users. Once you do that, it'll ask you to add names or email addresses there and assign their role. You can choose manager, you can choose communications something. I would choose manager, and you type in their email address and you click invite. Once the person has accepted that invitation, when you go back to manage permissions, you should see that person on the list. In this case, I invited myself for an example, but just to show you what that looks like. All right, so after that quick overview of how to set up an account and upload a video and add other managers, we're going to talk about what you post to YouTube. So here's some types of videos that libraries post. They can post a general promotion video. Think of this as a commercial for your library. A lot of academic libraries like to post an orientation or tour of the facility, or a specific tour of a collection, or a run through of a service in the library, especially if you have services for minority populations or disabled populations. That can be a great way to introduce them to the service without them having to come through to the library. Libraries sometimes post patron-made videos. Maybe the teen group has run a contest or done a program where they've made a video, and so libraries will post that. They will sometimes post event documentation, of course, with the proper copyright permissions in place. Let's say an author talk. They will sometimes post news, if there's news and happenings, and instruction. This obviously is more common with academic libraries. They'll post instructional videos all the time, but public libraries do also. As a note, channels that post about books, including libraries, usually call themselves booktubers. That's the name of the community on YouTube. And also, just like with the YouTube tutorial videos that I mentioned, see further reading at the end of the presentation for a list of library YouTube channels so you can get ideas from them. And it is by no means an exhaustive list. It's just a list to get you started. So we're going to move on to copyright and COPPA considerations. COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act. It was passed way back in 1998. It went into effect in 2000 and was revised in 2013. It's designed to regulate what kinds of information is collected about children under 13 online, including both website users themselves. So if there's any children using a website and the website wants to collect information about their underage users, COPPA says no. Generally no. And also any content online that may contain a child's image or voice. So this also applies to children who are in videos as well as children who are watching videos in the case of YouTube. So YouTube was sued in 2019 for COPPA violations. I am not a lawyer, so take my understanding of it with a grain of salt and please do your own research. But my understanding was that it was sued because it was not making any effort to distinguish when its viewers were under 13 or not, and it was not making any effort to categorize those videos that were geared towards children and might contain children's voice or image. So, but keep in mind, this is not to be confused with something like content rating, which signals if content is appropriate for a child audience. COPPA is about collecting information about a child audience. So copyright, and once again, I'm not a lawyer, so this is just my own understanding, and this just brushes the surface of the topic, but I hope it's a good introduction to copyright in YouTube. YouTube itself cannot tell you what is and isn't copyrighted and doesn't take action until notified on anything that might or might not be a copyright violation. But YouTube will take down a video if they're notified by a copyright holder that a video is using copyrighted material without permission. There have been some abuses of this thing that YouTube provides, in that there are some people that will claim a copyright strike against a YouTube video, not because they own that copyright, but because they, for whatever reason, want to either demonetize or take that video down. Content ID is a program developed by YouTube. Copyright holders can upload examples of their copyrighted material, and the algorithm will scan videos to see if there's matching content on uploaded videos. A lot of times music labels will use this, but Disney is an example of a company that's pretty aggressive in enforcing copyright on their material. So they use Content ID for YouTube as well. Music and audio is the area most likely to be flagged for copyright violation. If you'd like background music for your videos, YouTube maintains an audio library. There are also lots of other websites out there that will claim to provide copyright, or excuse me, royalty-free music. Do your research though, because you're kind of using it at your own risk. The safest thing to use would be something from the audio library of copyright-free music, or to compose and perform your own music. That's always an option. So how to build an audience, how to build and interact with your audience on YouTube. So some notes on editing videos for YouTube. Editing video will take a lot longer than you think at first. My first experience editing video was way back in my undergrad, before YouTube was even a thought in anyone's mind. And let me tell you, for that little 5-minute student film, it took me almost a whole night of editing. That's an extreme example, but don't underestimate the time that it will take you to edit your video. I don't want to scare you away from editing your videos, though. It usually improves the quality of your videos if you edit them. Keep your videos to the point and maintain momentum. YouTube's advice is that the video runtime should match the content. A few years ago, the kind of unspoken rule for YouTube was to keep your video at around 4 minutes. It seemed like if it was longer than that, people were navigating away. Well, since then, and with the advent of more high quality content on, or high production value content on YouTube, there's been a growth and explosion of longer form videos. But everything, the thing that every successful video on YouTube has in common is that it's engaging content. So the runtime should match the content. Choose editing software that is manageable. I wouldn't expect you to suddenly become a professional level film editor. And there are quite a few pretty simple and intuitive and quick to learn video editing software options out there. iPad comes with iMovie, excuse me, any iOS system comes with iMovie. Windows has a video editor program, but it is no longer supporting that program for its OneDrive. So I've used it. It's pretty easy to learn how to use, but keep in mind that I think Windows is sort of stepping away from updating that program. As a last note, pay attention to audio levels. As a YouTube user myself, I think one of the hallmarks of a more amateurish YouTube video is one where they've either made the background music too loud, you know, you can't hear the actual speaking over the background music, or they've left the audio too low and you're suddenly having to go in and turn the volume all the way up to hear a video. That's just a personal note from me. So it's both social and media. YouTube is kind of infamous for its comments section. They're YouTube trolls, if you've heard of them. They're people that are on there deliberately to post outrageous comments to get a reaction, or they're there to vent some frustrations that maybe have nothing to do with your video, but they're going to light on your video and use it to vent. So a more active curation of your video comment section might be necessary, and many libraries choose to disable the comment section for this reason. So do keep that in mind. That is an option. You can go in and disable the comments section. And if you're only using YouTube more as a video hosting platform rather than a social media platform, this is a pretty smart move to do. A note on ads: you don't have any control over what ads may be attached to your video, but you can choose to demonetize your video and therefore have no ads on your video. As libraries, I think this makes a lot of sense because we are not trying to make money off of these videos. This is just something that YouTube automatically assumes that you maybe want to make money on this, so they're going to leave that option open. To actually make money off of YouTube videos, there's a lot of other steps involved. But all of that to say, if you do leave the ads on your video, you don't have any control over what they are. All right, so we are at, yeah, and Matt says the 4 children part has some, on what ads are shown, has some control over what ads are shown. If you choose that it's 4 children, it will kind of censor the ads that are shown on the video. Resources and further reading. I've included the Wikipedia article because it's pretty well researched and referenced, and it's a pretty good summary of YouTube. I would highly suggest looking at, I've linked to a specific blog entry from Peter Muser, but I would suggest looking at his whole blog because it is all about social media, and there are several other posts about YouTube. So check that one out. And also, A Busy Librarian's Guide to YouTube is just a chapter in the book. The book is online for free, but it is all about other things for time-pressed librarians. It's geared towards academic librarians, but I found some other information in that book about today's presentation that you might find interesting also, so do check that out. And there is on there a page from YouTube this is a page, not a video, called What is Copyright? And it's a hub for all of their help pages about copyright to explore further. So do check that out if you have specific questions about copyright and YouTube. So some helpful video tutorials from YouTube. I've put in parentheses where they're a playlist rather than a single video. The How to Use YouTube Studio goes over way more than I've gone over in this presentation today. So I would encourage you to check it out. And all of those on the list. They even have a playlist of videos they put together on copyright and content ID on YouTube. Some library YouTube channels to check out. I put a few here. I will note 2 things really quick. The Invercargill Public Library is in New Zealand, and they have some really funny YouTube videos. It seems that their channel has not been too active in the last couple of years or so, but their videos that they have posted up on there are pretty amusing. Also, just a quick note, the New York Public Library has been doing something interesting just this week on their YouTube channel. As part of the programming that they're doing while everything is shut down, they've invited the author Neil Gaiman to read his book Coraline, do a live reading, and they're posting the videos of those readings on their YouTube channel. They've posted chapters 1 through 4 so far that he read on their YouTube channel. I think today's post, which might happen tomorrow morning, is LeVar Burton is going to the actor is going to take over and read a few chapters, and then there's a couple of other actors that will finish up the book also. So it's been a really great way to listen to an audiobook that's not exactly an audiobook. So Q&A and wrap up. I would encourage you to either look up this clip or go back into the slides later and watch this clip. I will go ahead and press play after we end the recording so that we're not violating copyright. But I hope all of you are familiar with the Conan the Librarian clip from the movie UHF, the Weird Al movie. With all of that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we can go on to the question and answer.